Welcome back. Captain Aliyu Umar joins us next now to return to our focus on this war against insurgency. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
And then,
greetings.
Thank you, same to you too. It will always be out there as long as one fresh attack happens. But we heard what a lot of the authorities are saying about how we're going about all of this. But let me start from the morale of the troops. You must have been in touch with some of your former colleagues. What do you hear at the moment?
Well, at the moment, as far as the business of handling the Northeast is concerned, I think our troops are pretty much on the high side morale-wise, even though there have been concerns with information that has been discovered concerning the former NSA. There are also concerns about what this particular discovery should impact the court martials, how these discoveries should impact decisions that have been reached previously before we knew what we know now. Okay, and I wrote in one of our media, one of our newsprints, that the discovery or the allegations as were made can be very, very daunting, and they need to be managed properly, because if you look at what is happening, it's been a very costly war in terms of men, in terms of material, even in terms of innocent citizens. And when we start hearing issues or news to the effect that those who were held in trust to make this country strong were actually playing around with funds that were meant to help people protect others, those who are fighting will tend to get, let down, a feeling of being let down. But the kind of leadership they have right now, I think that will be a bit assuaged. But then it should be managed properly, because other than Nigerians, civilians now, these soldiers are also watching.
Because, there are many who also, people will always be divided on different matters, especially as it regards this fight against insurgency. Some think that by now, because they say we're advancing, progressing in this fight, they thought that by now we should have at least, perhaps, if the last administration said we were going to name the sponsors of this terrorist, that didn't happen. If it did, I missed it. But many also thought they should have taken it a step further, this government, by saying, well, here's where we are now. These are the people who we suspect are sponsoring this, and we're going to go after them.
Yes, indeed. That is very, very highly expected. But then if you look at the situation as it is ongoing, I believe that we're in for interesting times. More names are going to roll out, because I tell you something about the fight for insurgency. From my own sideline analyst observer position, so many dots are beginning to connect back. Things that were cold on my radar are now blinking hot. I'm beginning to wonder why a certain part of the country never came under attack. I'm beginning to wonder why someone who wanted a caliphate didn't just go take the caliphate that existed and had to go far out by Maiduguri. I'm beginning to wonder if there was any connection between what I'm hearing about the former NSA and those, in quotes, rumors we heard about military equipments being supplied to Boko Haram camps, even with helicopters at night. I'm beginning to wonder if there is any connection between all these and what one Australian by name of Dr. Davis said some time ago. I'm beginning to wonder. I wonder as I wonder. All these things are on my database. They were irrelevant. Some of them were far-flung. But right now, they are blinking red. And I'm just watching.
Really, when we talk about an angle that a lot of people wouldn't want to go into or look at, is about the caliphate issue, because they started by saying they wanted to establish their own caliphate.
Agreed.
Yes, and the caliphate, as we know, is the Danfodio Caliphate, which is today the Sokoto Caliphate.
So, if I was Shekau and I wanted a caliphate, I'm thinking aloud now in my unusual head. I am not stereotyped. I'm very much out of the box, but it works for me. So if I was Imam Sheikh, why take Borno State if I could just go and take Sokoto?
Wouldn't that be predictable?
Why would it be predictable? The ground is the same. The geography is basically the same. And we are beginning to now see, look, whatever has happened here, the former NSA hasn't done us any good, if these things are true. Not the least the caliphate itself, because it's going to put that caliphate on the spot. Could there be a link between this Shion of the caliphate and these people? Could there be a link in the docile nature of... You remember on this same forum I said, as far as this northeastern thing is concerned, the soul was willing as far as our army, our boys were, but the body was dead and it was deliberately weakened by design. Can we begin to see a link in the sudden 6-week reawakening of a docile army pre-elections? Retrospectively, can I say that was just like some too little, too late approach to actually bring things back?
So does that mean that we demonstrated the capacity to go ahead and win that war? And if it existed at that time, does it still exist now? If it exists now, what haven't we used it?
Let me explain something. When we talk about what is happening in the Northeast, we must look at it from two spectra here. Insurgency and terrorism. Those insurgents who rebelled, challenged authority, decided to take parcels of our land and host flags, have been routed effectively. We no longer see concerted attacks at dawn on locations and barracks. We no longer see taking of local government areas. That has been effectively routed. And that probably, very likely, informs the spate of increase in bombings. We've seen the multinational joint task force of contiguous neighbors come together and deny them that exit.
Except for what was mentioned recently about Chad.
Well, that too is blinking, but we are waiting to hear, because this thing is fraught with a lot of inconsistencies, and these inconsistencies are beginning to underscore events that occurred in the past and which people were wondering, why should this be so? Things are not adding up. They're beginning to take shape now. So basically, what I really want to say here to Nigerians and to government is, there is too much sand under the carpet, as it were. It's time to just be open. It's time to be open. If it's as per getting back our land, our territory, the army has done a good job of that.
So be open with what exactly?
With names, as you said earlier, with events. Look, you cannot suppress the truth. If you suppress one truth, you probably have to tell 10 more lies, and it goes on exponentially. Yes, some of these things are not palatable. Yes, some of these things are daunting. But then when you face it, that's the beginning of the solution. If there are people, name them. We need to look our nemesis, as I always say, in the eye. Or else our nemesis will consume us. And it's unfortunate that we're beginning to see that these nemesis are people we call leaders, people we call fathers, people we call all sorts. Okay? So basically, there is no hiding about anything, and nobody is sacred anymore. If you have actually soiled your hands, then you should be able to come out and take the heat. People talk about human rights violations for people who have done unspeakable things.